Look, I get it, you're interested in lore, but reading? Oh no. I know, I was the same. With a plethora of lore books available in the Elder Scrolls universe, it's nigh impossible to know where to get started. So I decided to read every lore book I come across and have them neatly categorized. Today, I'm reading all 10 Auridon lore books from the Elder Scrolls Online for you. These videos are specifically designed to be listened to in the background while you play, relax, or preferably to fall asleep to. I want to emphasize that no AI was used for this, as all books have been read by me personally. To prove that I'm an actual human being, I'm gonna say Bananarama! Can AI do this nowadays? I don't know. If you enjoyed these readings, I'd appreciate if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel now, as I won't interrupt the video for some call to actions midway through. Maybe you even know someone to share this with? Okay. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the lore books of Auridon. Crimes of the Daggerfall Covenant. A Summary. By Icantar of Shimmerine, Sapiarch of Indoctrination. The kingdoms of the Daggerfall Covenant are inhabited by mongrel upstarts who have cruelly suppressed our Direnni cousins, the High Elves, who are the rightful rulers of Northwest Tamriel. They were largely complicit in the rise of the dangerous and genocidal fanatics known as the Alessian Order. They allow their pirates to prey on Aldmeri shipping. The Bretons are also so indiscriminate that they have accepted the bestial Orsimer as allies. Orsimer, can you imagine? Though capable of mustering substantial brute force, there is no evidence that these degraded hybrids have the wisdom or learning to deal with the mystical disaster now threatening the Mundus. They must be disciplined and subdued as rapidly as possible, so the Dominion can get on with the business of saving the world and protecting it in the future. Fang of the Sea Vipers by Thalmor the Artificer. At the request of Her Majesty's advisor Nuletail, I have compiled this brief accounting of the Maormor of Peandonea, known commonly as Sea Elves. Read now, and let the light of knowledge free you of your fear. Their ancient history is well known across the Dominion, and not worth recounting in detail here. Suffice to say that the Archmage known as King Orgnum has long led the outcasts of the Shrouded Isle. He uses foul spells, rituals and sacrifices to continually renew his youth and vigor. Other rumors you have heard are true as well. The rituals of Orgnum allow the Maormor to control sea serpents. Some have mastered their art of riding the beasts among the waves, while larger and less docile beasts swim in support of their largest fleets. The fleet that now threatens Auridon, we have learned, calls itself the Sea Viper. Recent events in the Three Banners War have driven the Vipers into the seas around Auridon and the mainland. The opportunistic Maormor now seek their own victories in the war between the alliances. The first Auridon Marines, the Dominion Navy, and others now stand ready to halt the advance of the Maormor. If you see signs of the Vipers, report them at once to your cannon reef or the nearest Dominion officer. Eagles, know that the Viper will not take our nest. Be wary, but have courage. Kinlord Rilis and the Mages Guild by High Incunabulist Velast of the Mages Guild. As a member in high standing, I feel it necessary to explain and extirpate the notion that Kinlord Rilis XII is somehow a founder of the Mages Guild. The common folk believe that the Kinlord, in the days before his cruelty and sadism became well known, brokered a deal that reined in dangerous mages and somehow put binders in place to keep the commonalty safe. This is simply not the case. Vanus Galerian, student of Iakesis, did indeed flout prevailing thought when it came to magical experimentation in large cities. He drew together numerous students and artificers to the city of Firsthold. For the first time, he sought to prove the benefit of spellcasters working in close proximity. Not for a mighty ritual, but for study, experimentation, and a sense of camaraderie. This simple premise so terrified the people of Firsthold that they turned to their ruler, Kinlord Rilis XII. Now known by many less polite titles, Rilis was first and foremost a political animal. He saw in Galarian's folly, as it was known at the time, a chance to play the mages and common folk off against each other. The much speculated upon Charter Conclave brought together Rilis, Ayrenn, Galarian, and other notables from across the Isles and the Psijic Order. By common agreement, it is true, no records were kept of that meeting. But mark my words here, Adept, Rilis allowed the meeting, allowed Galarian to do what he did to further his own ends. In retrospect, of course, the legacy of Artaeum is the proud heritage of the new Mages Guild. We now boldly gather together under the guild banner and will no doubt do so for many centuries to come. Just let it be remembered, Rilis XII was a dangerous Mer. Even at the time of the Conclave, he trafficked with dark powers and made pacts with Daedra. The proud order we all now serve is here despite his best intention, not because of them. Life in the Eagle's Shadow. First Morning Star. A new year and a new start. Cyrune agreed to be my betrothed last night. I'm the luckiest Mer in Matheson. I've already made arrangements with Yondine to use the forge. I'm going to melt down my father's old blade and use it as the base for a Ring of Mara. Matheson's steel is good enough for the troops, right? It will be good enough for my true heart. Third Sun's Dawn. The heralds are shouting in every square across the island. There is a new queen! And we are now part of some kind of alliance, with the Wood Elves and the Khajiit of all people. The Aldmeri Dominion, they are calling it. I couldn't be prouder, but father has done nothing but grumble. He says letting those kind of folk onto the island will be bad for business. 10th Sun's Dawn. Cyrune and I sneaked out in the middle of the night and made for Skywatch. It was so exciting, bedding down by the side of the road, like we are in the Fighters Guild. The handbills telling us of the parade have been all over the island, and we decided we couldn't let something like this pass us by. I'll be thrice cursed by the old Mer, I know it, but damn him for a fool. Miss a chance to see the Queen, the Main, and the Bosmer Tree Thanes, not on your life. 11th Sun's Dawn. If today was any indication, father was right. The parade was amazing, with Her Majesty leading a phalanx of marines up the path to the gates. Then came the Tree Thanes with their wily jungle rangers, Vindusk I think someone said, and then the Main with those braids. Amazing to see the Khajiit warriors on display. Much more pleasing than the furry sneak thief I caught with his hand in my coin purse. I tried to catch him before he made off, but he dove between some of those damn dog workers who were so obsessed with their frog races they didn't even look up. And then he was gone. Cyrune said it was alright that we just leave earlier than we'd planned. Damn it. I just hate to let her down. 17th Sun's Dawn. Damn them all! Everything has been a mess since Cyrune and I came back from Skywatch. Father was furious that we'd left, and when I told him how many coins that cat took, old bastard hasn't beaten me like that since I was learning the forge. Then, a few days ago, they pulled all of us into the Forge Master's office. Condolin had gotten word that, with the new alliance, Tradesmer can start hiring some of those folk. Tossing a certain number of jobs to them would net you extra coin from the Thalmor. And so he dropped father's contract, Been with the Forge for decades, and now catmen and cannibals are doing the job. All because of the damned alliance. Father's beside himself. About the steel more than anything, says they won't know how to cure it right. Stars above, what is happening? Second first seat. My life is ruined. I'm on the run and everyone I knew and loved hates me. Damn the Dominion and our smiling queen to boot. It all started when that recruiter for the Battle Reef came to town. He was looking for volunteers for the Dominion military. When no one came forward, he said he'd been empowered to take conscripts. He tapped me and Cyrun's brother. He also grabbed the twins, Teleriel and Teneriel, shoved us into a line with a gang of others, and started us down the road. We weren't a mile before Teneriel snapped, went crazy, screaming about how he couldn't fight Dark Elves, that they use your body to hatch spiders in. He made a break for it, and a bunch of us used the chance to run as well. I'm holed up in a cave near Salem. My father is penniless. My bride-to-be will soon think me a traitor. The damned cats and runty elves are taking over the island, and the military is putting children on the front lines. This isn't the homeland I grew up in. Fifth first seed. I was reduced to trying to steal something for my evening meal and, of course, I was caught. I slipped into Salem after dusk, the smell of some delicious whitefish wafting on the breeze. I hadn't eaten anything worthwhile since the morning the recruiter came into town, when I had that delicious spiced bread Cyrun's mother made. I slipped into town and tracked the smell to the local inn. I was trying to figure out how to get into the kitchen when a big, beefy hand fell on my shoulder. One of the Cannon Reef's men. He knew exactly what I was doing, almost like he'd been watching me since I got into town. Now I'm sitting in a cell underneath the Reef's manse, waiting his justice. At least they let me keep the journal here. Damn you, Ayrenn. Damn you, Dominion. 10th first seat. My old life is over. My new life under the veil has begun. It turns out the Cannon Reef himself, an honorable man named Vallano, has experienced his own doubts about his future under the Dominion. He used to be a good friend to the Queen even, but worries now the years have changed her. Vallano is a member of a group called the Veiled Heritance. They're a group of freedom fighters willing to do what has to be done. They're willing to make the hard choices and stop the spread of foreign influence on our soil. I was brought up out of that cellar below Salem thinking I was going to do hard labor. Instead, I found a new family. Vallano said he knew all about my problems, even knew that I'd been taken by a Dominion recruiter, said that he was willing to help, and help me help myself. And I will. Regarding the Ebonheart Pact, by Akantar of Shimmerine, Sapiarch of Indoctrination. Our cousins the Dark Elves have been duly punished for the betrayal of their ancestry. Because they have embraced and then attempted to emulate the Daedra, a curse has disfigured their bodies and blasted their land. That lesson was apparently insufficient, for they have now left the boundaries of their cursed domain and seek to infect the rest of the mainland with their heresies. The trio of wily demon spawn who rule them have duped the simple Nords and the slave lizard Orgonians into joining this mad escapade. To allow the Ebonheart Pact to rule in Cyrodiil would be just as foolish as to leave the Empire to one or another of the tribes of men. The Tribunal is ultimately an even greater danger to Nirn than the heedless and impetuous human nations. They must be driven back into their haunted corner of the continent with their power broken. Forever. Thalmor Handbill by Akantar of Shimmerine, Sapiarch of Indoctrination. Loyal citizens of the Isles, heed the statement of the Thalmor. Bear witness to these words about our new allies, the Khajiit and the Wood Elves. Integration with our new Wood Elf and Khajiiti allies continues apace. To promote alliance harmony, loyal Thalmor agents have drawn together this short list of helpful notices. Follow this mandatory guidance with cheer, and our new allies will look on you with favor. Do not refer to Khajiit as cats, kitties, fuzzies, or any other derogatory feline-based term. Khajiiti delicacies are often very sweet, or spiced with the exotic substance known as moon sugar. Diners beware. Do not touch a Khajiit's tail without permission. Our Khajiiti allies have a unique dialect. Mocking their speech or imitating it is considered quite rude and non-Aldmeri. When inviting a Wood Elf to dine, know that the resources of the forest are sacred to them. Serve venison, but no salads. Do not refer to Wood Elves as shories, runties, or any other derogatory height-based terms. Have a care when imbibing Wood Elf brews, as their beverages are very different than our own. Do not imply to Wood Elves that they are cannibals, or ask them about how they dispose of their dead. Egos, unite! The Lay of Firsthold. Their tribulations drove the elves cross slothful seas to Somerset. All Aldmeris, old Elmerfey, your loving visage haunts us yet. Your Zephyr's kiss enthralls us still, though only in heart's memory, and sorrow to the marrow deep infuses every Aldmeri. When madness sinks and night hour comes, and owl and spectre prowl and creep, when eyes can gaze at stars no more, then fancy flits across the deep. Whence Altmer came to Eastern Isles, escaping doom oblivious, to Auridon, hue imbued, with a spectrum vivid, various. From foam it rose before the ships, 9 prows did plough the gleaming strand. Torinan stepped from foremost craft, and claimed as Kinlord all the land, from silver beach to green-clad hills, begilded by the golden dawn. Auridon thus was the name, bestowed upon that realm anon. Though wild it was, at once it gripped Torinan's once remorseful heart. He drew his blade, he drew his blood, and swore an oath to ne'er depart. They disembarked upon the shore, built kinhouse, gardens, forge, and hive. They tamed the meadows, beaches, fields, and made a home where elves could thrive. Then howling from the hills in hate, came horrors horned, bedyed with eyes. Gydes, Welwa, Iliadi, all sought the Altmer's cruel demise. Some said they should take ship anew, and seek a farther safer shore. But bold Torinan valor steeled, and drawing on ancestral lore, hierogram with Valar stones, he wove upon Auridon's loom, drew power down from stars above, and drove fell monsters to their doom. He harried them across hills and heights, all smiting them with magics dire, till one by one they fell at last, to blasts of lightning, ice, or fire. So warded than by spells well spun, Auridon bloomed beneath the touch of Altmer craft and husbandry, imago form and sculpture, much admired by other Altmer were Torinan's brave achievement there. And other kinholds followed fast, on Somerset so blessed, so fair, but though those kinholds prospered well throughout the archipelago, Aldmeri landfall all recall. Upon the Firsthold shore did show, and bold Torinan is revered, for courage, wisdom, foresight he, who harnessed heaven to defend the Altmer in extremity. Auridon, excellent abode, Maormer repel, expel all slowed. The Rise of Queen Ayrenn by Nulletail of Skywatch. Loyal citizens of Auridon, I have the pleasure of being an advisor to Her Royal Majesty Queen Ayrenn I, Eagle Primarch of the Aldmeri Dominion, High Queen of the Somerset Isles, Overfriend of the Royal Cameron House of the Wood Elven People, and boon companion to the Mane of the Khajiit. As Royal Advisor, I have penned this brief account of Queen Ayrenn's life and history. Read that you might welcome our Queen into your hearts. Her Majesty spent her early days as many children do in the Isles. She trained in blades beside her father. She rode horses in the surf along our golden beaches, and she memorized history and sonnets beneath soft pink petals. Over 20 years ago, your forward-thinking king, His Royal Majesty King Hidalith of Eleanor, may he be ever honored in Aetherius, gathered with the royal family at the Crystal Tower in celebration of Her Majesty's passage into the labyrinth. This time of intensive study had been required by all Somerset rulers in the past, and Her Majesty was to step into that period with arms wide. As the hour approached, however, the then princess was found missing. While a long search was begun, in truth, Her Majesty had claimed her own destiny. Her Majesty had stolen away to the Isle of Balfiera to live with the Dyreni at the Adamant Tower. The members of that clan trained her in the art of war. They turned her simple noble swordplay to live and seasoned blade dancing. Her beachside rides became forced marches on horseback, and her singing of sonnets beneath the trees of her homeland gave way to the study of the arts most arcane. Much has been made of our queen's adventures in Tamriel by bards and common broadsheet scribes. Yes, it's true that she once rode a bear, that she hunted the frost trolls of Skyrim, delved into the depths of a dwarven ruin, and crewed with a pirate captain of Cyrodiil. Her Majesty once flew upon an enormous kite on the winds of Alik'r Desert, and danced with Nereids in the Elessen Hills. These adventures were not the larks of wanton, but instead a deliberate process, the tempering of a blade. And when His Majesty King Hidalith passed away, when it looked as though our remote isles would be left to flounder in the swell of history, Princess Ayrenn returned. Her Majesty plucked the crown from where it had fallen in the dust. She took up her father's sword and led us into the world. Led us into the world to find new allies waiting just off our shores. The Queen's connection to the noble Wood Elves and fierce Khajiit enabled us to form the mighty Dominion that now stands astride our corner of Tamriel, poised to strike at the dark heart of Cyrodiil and ward off the depredations of the warmongering alliances of the north. Though she has her detractors and cowards defame her courage from behind the veil, Queen Ayrenn is the living, beating heart of the Dominion. Our fortune and prosperity depend upon her. Varieties of Faith, the High Elves. Varieties of Faith in Tamriel, the High Elves, by Brother Mikael Karkuksor of the Imperial College. The Eight, though few Altmer outside the Empire accept the limitation of divines to 8. Auriel, King of the Altmer. The Elven Akatosh is Auriel. Auriel is the soul of Anuiel, who in turn is the soul of Anu, the Everything. He is the chief of most Aldmeri pantheons. Most Aldmeri and Bosmeri claim direct descent from Auriel. In his only known moment of weakness, he agreed to take his part in the creation of the mortal plane, that act which forever sundered the elves from the spirit worlds of eternity. To make up for it, Auriel led the original Altmer against the armies of Lorkhan in mythic times, vanquishing that tyrant and establishing the first kingdom of the Altmer, Altmora and Old Elnofey. He then ascended to heaven in full observance of his followers, so that they might learn the steps needed to escape the mortal plane. Magnus. Magus. The god of sorcery, Magnus withdrew from the creation of the world at the last second, though it cost him dearly. What is left of him on the world is felt and controlled by mortals as magic. One story says that, while the idea was thought up by Lorkhan, it was Magnus who created the schematics and diagrams needed to construct the mortal plane. He is sometimes represented by an astrolabe, a telescope, or, more commonly, a staff. Trinimag. Strong god of the early Altmer, in some places more popular than Auriel. He was a warrior spirit of the original elven tribes that led armies against the man. Boethia is said to have assumed his shape, in some stories he even eats Trinimag, so that he could convince a throng of Altmer to listen to him, which led to their eventual chimeric conversion. Trinimag vanishes from the mythic stage after this, to return as the dread Malakath. Aldmeri propaganda portrays this as the dangers of Dunmeri influence. Ifre, god of the forest. While Auriel Time Dragon might be the king of the gods, Ifre is revered as the spirit of the now. According to the elves, after the creation of the mortal plane, everything was in chaos. The first mortals were turning into plants and animals and back again. Then Ifre transformed himself into the first of the Elnofey, or Earthbones. After these laws of nature were established, mortals had a semblance of safety in the new world, because they could finally understand it. Xarxes. Xarxes is the god of ancestry and secret knowledge. He began as a scribe to Auriel, and has kept track of all Aldmeri accomplishments, large and small, since the beginning of time. He created his wife, Ogma, from his favorite moments in history. Mara, goddess of love. Nearly universal goddess. Origins started in mythic times as a fertility goddess. She is sometimes associated with Nier of the Anuat, the female principle of the cosmos that gave birth to creation. For the Altmer, she is the wife of Auriel. Standar, god of mercy. A god of compassion and righteous rule. In early Aldmeri legends, Standar is the apologist of man. Sirabane, warlock's god. An Aldmeri god ancestor of magic, Sirabane aided Bendu Olo in the fall of the Slode. Through judicious use of his magical ring, Sirabane saved many from the scourge of the Thracian plague. He is also called the Apprentice's god, for he is a favorite of the younger members of the Mages Guild. Additional deities with significant Altmer cults. Fenaster, hero god of the Somerset Isles, who taught the Altmer how to naturally live another 100 years by using a shorter walking stride. Lorkhan, the missing god. This creator trickster tester deity is in every Tamrielic mythic tradition. His most popular name is the Aldmeri Lorkhan, or Doomdrum. He convinced or contrived the original spirits to bring about the creation of the mortal plane, upsetting the status quo, much like his father Padome had introduced instability into the universe in the beginning place. After the world is materialized, Lorkhan is separated from his divine center, sometimes involuntarily, and wanders the creation of the Edada. He and his metaphysical placement in the scheme of things is interpreted a variety of ways. To the High Elves, he is the most unholy of all higher powers, as he forever broke their connection to the spirit plane. In the legends, he is almost always an enemy of the Altmer and, therefore, a hero of early mankind. Why don the veil? Good Mer, you know why to don the veil. You know in your heart the danger facing the Isles. We have been betrayed. Our leaders now bend knee to a wastrel child, a queen of cats and midgets, an adventurer given the throne by an accident of blood, a wench more fit for a cup house than a throne room. These are our lands. The High Elf, the legacy of the Aldmeri people, now must sit idle beneath the blooms. We must watch as flea-bitten mongrels from the steppes cavered in public like Mer. We must listen as the animal tongue of the wood is spoken in our streets. We did not seek, nor did we provoke this assault on our way of life. We did not expect, nor did we invite this confrontation. The true measure of a people's strength is how they rise to master the moment when it comes upon them. Master the moment, Mer of Auridon. Don the veil. Rise up against this queen, against her dominion, and retake the Somerset Isles. So, turns out you are still awake. Well, if you need another video, you find one on the screen right now. If you haven't liked the video just yet, then I would appreciate if you could do so right now and subscribe to catch the future audiobooks as well. And with that, I hope you hear me next time.